First tonight, a beloved festival celebrating Greek food and culture is back for its 42nd year. CENTER Maine's Christian Lee got a look at day one of the event.
You can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong.
At the Greek festival in Portland, you just can't go wrong. Seriously, just ask anyone.
It's yummy!
Even before the festival opened, lines were down the block. Even in line, there were smiles all around.
And we're still smiling because those that are coming through the line are smiling. So it's such a good feeling.
Ann Pollock has a serious job. As food line captain, she makes sure food is on everyone's plates.
We're so grateful that they're here to get the food, you know. I'm very proud.
For those working the festival, it looks like long days and hard work. But they know it brings the community together.
The Greek community is tight. We all know each other, you know.
And it's not just bringing the Greek community together, but the Portland community too.
And I love seeing my non-Greek neighbors come through. And it's festive, it's happy.
Happiness that they'll take through the entire weekend. You can still visit the Greek festival on Friday and Saturday, but after it's all over, some vacation time might be needed.
This is my volunteer week. Next week's my week of rest and relaxation.
In Portland, Christian Lee, CENTER Maine.
Tomorrow, Greek Fest will go from 11:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. On Saturday, it goes from 11:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. They've sold out in years past, so if you're craving some Greek food, you should act quickly. Construction is wrapping up on the sinkhole that opened up in Portland earlier this month. We should be showing you that sinkhole. We apologize. So for 2 weeks now, a portion of High Street has been closed while crews work to fix the damage. It's not open just yet, though. The city says work is set to be completed come Saturday. Now to this, a man is dead after police say he was struck by an Amtrak train in Old Orchard Beach this afternoon. Crews responded to the tracks near Temple Ave just after 2:15 p.m. There, a 51-year-old Old Orchard Beach man was found dead. Investigators believe he was walking near the tracks before the train hit him. They believe he had been drinking. The investigation is still ongoing tonight. Today, we're learning more about the bigger impact of a story we brought you yesterday. That's when an unhoused person was rescued from inside a trash truck in Sanford. According to the Sanford Fire Department, the person was inside a dumpster behind Sanford House of Pizza when they were dumped into the truck. First responders say they found that person trapped in the compactor and had to use specialized rescue equipment to safely remove them. They say this person was dealing with homelessness. Community leaders say this highlights the need for more resources and assistance to help those experiencing homelessness and find housing.
They then can make their appointment at Sweetser. They then can get down to rehab, that they then can have an opportunity to talk with Sanford Housing Authority. But if that doesn't happen first, all those other things are not going to happen.
There's areas that the fire department would like to expand into that would also be able to help these unhoused individuals. But, you know, there's a limitation of time, funding, and available resources, staff, et cetera, to do that.
Members of the Sanford Fire Department say the person they rescued is receiving treatment at Maine Medical Center in Portland. Last month, we told you that a shelter in Skowhegan was ordered to close its doors after unresolved safety violations. Now town officials have authorized taking legal action against the shelter. CENTER Maine's Brianna Bush shows us how leaders with the town and shelter plan to move forward.
Outside, a sign says that this building is deemed unsafe by the Skowhegan Fire Department. But inside, Shelters by Jesus remains open.
I am a pastor, and I'm called to take care of the hurting.
Pastor Richard Berry has been serving people at the Trinity Evangelical Free Church for close to 2 decades. However, town officials say for months, the shelter has been operating with unresolved safety code violations.
They've done the majority of the code violations have been updated, and there's just 2 major code violations.
We haven't broken any laws. We haven't obeyed every ordinance.
The town issued a cease and desist order in May. Weeks later, this placard was issued.
We don't want to send the police and fire department in there to remove people.
Interim town manager Donnie Zalewski says the shelter lacks a sprinkler system and a monitored fire alarm system. Now the town has authorized legal action against the shelter in the hopes it encourages the shelter to get up to code.
We're taking all the legal steps necessary to encourage compliance. What we really want is Shelters by Jesus to have a compliant building up to code.
Zalewski says the shelter is operating as an unauthorized dormitory.
There's requirements for being a dormitory and there's requirements for being a place of assembly.
We care about it. We're pouring our hearts and our souls into this, and I'm doing everything I can to make sure we have an absolutely safe place to be.
An inspection filed earlier this year states that there are people living and sleeping in the church's assembly space, including families with children, without separation or appropriate living quarters for families.
In order for them to make the building a dormitory, they have to put in the fire suppression.
Barry says the shelter has yet to receive any court order and will continue operating while he works to reach ordinance compliance.
It's a church that accepts people and lets them stay there until we get a better facility for them.
Town officials say they are awaiting next steps in the court process and in the meantime are helping people transition out of the shelter. In Skowhegan, Brianna Bush, News Center, Maine.
Shelters by Jesus also operates a men's shelter next to the church. However, that building is up to code, according to town officials. Maine is moving closer to making high-level at-home treatment possible for its most vulnerable children with severe mental health challenges. Today, a groundbreaking ceremony took place at Sweetser's Saco campus, which will be home to Maine's first youth psychiatric residential treatment facility, or PTRF. An old 8,000-square-foot residential unit will be turned into a 24-hour psychiatric care center with 16 beds. The facility will include activity rooms, sensory spaces, a nurse's station, and a basketball court. This new center aims to address Maine's shortage of mental health beds for children. Because of this shortage, hundreds of children as young as 5 have had to receive treatment in emergency rooms. State health officials report that about 70 at-risk children are currently getting treatment out of state.
It is about families who have spent sleepless nights searching for help and wondering where to turn. And it is about ensuring that children can receive the care they need close to home.
The nearly $8 million facility is expected to open sometime next year. We'll have a family apartment on campus so families and young people can stay connected during treatment.